Namaste, guys. This is Ravi Kanth. Today, I'm going to do a live on this book called Significant Education and the Significance of Life. Today, I will be reading this book and I will try to explain as much as I understand about the education. Now, let's begin the first chapter, Education and the Significance of Life. When when one travels around the world, one notices to what an extraordinary degree of human beings is nature is, either in India, America, Europe, or Australia. This is especially true in colleges and universities. We are turning out as if to a mold, a type of human being whose chief interest is to find security, to become somebody important, or to have a good time with a little thought as possible. So, in the first phase of this chapter, which says, when one travels around the world, one notices what an extraordinary degree human nature is the same. Either in America, Europe, Australia, India, everywhere the human nature is the same. This is especially true in colleges and universities. Either we go to Harvard University or in Delhi University or in Indian Institute of Science, all the students who read there are the same. We are turning out as if through a mold, a type of human being whose chief interest is to find security. If we go to especially in Southern Asia, we find every student is seeking in some kind of security in education to find a job, to have a life, and to lead a luxurious life, a comfortable life, to become somebody important, to become something like an most popular engineer and most popular singer or any other. Our chief interest is to find security or become a popular. Hi, Tex Crystal 9. How are you? I hope you're fine. Conventional education makes independent thinking extremely difficult, as if the modern education or the older education, which molds the student to not to think independently. They direct a child to a certain pattern, and throughout the life, the child behaves in that only pattern. He doesn't want to go outside of it. He always seeks security, security, security. Conformity leads to mediocrity. Here means when a child goes through a certain type of pattern throughout the life, and that pattern is called as conformity. If the parents wants to get him married, he will get married. If society or relatives expect him to get married, then he will get married. And some kind of there is a social pressure on that person to get something important, to become something important, or to have a married life or have children. But that mediocrity remains the same. Either he begets the children or gets married or earns a lot of money. The mediocrity doesn't mean average in education. Here mediocrity means mediocrity in life. Either we are good educated or highly educated, the anger, fear, security, consumption of security ever remains in the mind. Though we become more important, more educated, highly professional, highly earning, still that mediocrity remains it. And that mediocrity is anxiety, fear, dullness of the mind, seeking security. All this is a part of our nature, that is mediocrity, and that mediocrity ever remains with us throughout the life. To be different from the group or to resist environment is not easy and is often risky as long as we worship success. Throughout the education, from the day we go to school to the last day we leave that school, all the pattern that we have been taught is to get success in this life, get success, good high earning job, and that's enough. If you do that, you will be happy. But actually that is the criteria which is based on the extremely false. Because even though we get successful, success is like a Have you ever seen in a jungle, lot of animals are there? If specifically I take lion, the lion's success rate for hunting is only about maybe 5 to 10 5 6%, but remaining 94% time the lion fails. So here it means a lion has to try 100%. Out of that, every 100% he gets only 6% success rate, and 94% he fails. Again he goes to 94, gets success. After reaching the 100, again it has to go 94% more, and 95%, 0 to 95% is a failure, only 5% success rate. So in our daily life, also in our life, success rate is very low. Even though you get success at a certain time, again you have a lot of chances of getting failed again and again. And the success rate for the human being is only 1%. 99% of the time you have to be failed, and that is, destiny. There is no success in biological or anywhere. Success is invented by capitalism, which was began in the industrial phase, and that is compelled us to go in a certain way to seek success. The urge to be successful, which is the pursuit of reward, whether in the material or in the so-called spiritual sphere, the search for inward or outward security, the desire for comfort, the whole process smoothers discontent, puts an end to spontaneity and breeds fear, and fear blocks the intelligent understanding of life. With increasing age, dullness of mind and heart sets in. Wait, guys, let me come. Now let's begin again. Yes, now let's begin again. Thank you. Sorry, guys, you can comment on my live. I was actually by mistakenly did it. So let's again now read it again. I will continue. To be successful as successful, which is the pursuit of reward. To be successful in the life, in the life, which is the pursuit of reward, whether in the material or is the spiritual. Here, the urge to be successful in every sphere of life, either in spiritual. Shit. The urge to be successful, which is a pursuit of reward, whether in the material or in a spiritual. A reward seeking person of the spirituality or in the uh, capitalism, the both the mindset are the same. When in the businessman, the person wants to incur lot of money by suppressing, controlling, dominating the employees who are working there. Or in the spiritual world, the person is not inflicting violence on the other, but the person is inflicting violence on itself. Like if I say in Indian context, we do upavas, which means we dry out ourselves without the food for entire day. In the capitalism, in the business world, the person is incurring violence on the employees who are working under him. But in the spiritual sphere, we are incurring violence on ourselves. We don't eat for one day, or we try to burst out ourselves, doing lot of things, following lot of tradition, lot of things, philosophers. That is the same kind of violence. And by inflicting upon on myself in a spiritual way, I want to go into some higher consciousness. But that mentality is same equal in the capitalism, where the businessman wants to grow by dominating, putting violence on the employees who are working there. The both in action of mentality are the same. There is no difference. So here says, the search for reward or outward security, desire for comfort, the whole process smoothers discontent. Here says, when I want to seek a reward, when I want to seek comfort, security for anything, that it itself ends the understanding of one's life. Here, when I'm a youth, when I want to secure my job, having job is good and searching for the job is also very well good, because it is essential to have an financial independence in our life. But after having that financial independence, we should not get into only that, to get into highest post of the job, all that, which is itself is finding security in which I live, either in the married life. Imagine I want to have live with my partner, and my desire is to have a happiness throughout the life. This is not actually possible. In a married life, there will be lot of up and downs, up and downs, up and downs. The up will be there and the low phase will be there. So when a person do not seek security, when I seek security, that means I want continuous happiness, and that is not possible. Seeking that security, which is happiness, is impossible in the human life. When I seek security, that puts an end to my understanding about the life, and end to spontaneity of the understanding, which breeds fear. And fear blocks the intelligent understanding of one's life. If I'm frightened of my career, if I'm frightened of my if i'm if I'm frightened of my career, my life, and all that stuff, how can I understand myself? How can I understand myself if I live in continuous fear, anxieties? So fear or anxiety blocks the understanding of life. Even though one doesn't accrue or land in a good job, still that doesn't make him die, because what is essential for living is oxygen, water, air, roads, all very essential. That is given in for free for the human beings. But except for the food, we have to incur some job. That is also good. That is also, we have to do certain job, but that is also doesn't make us struggle. What is essential for life, it is given very easily. So we should not even land in a anxiety or a fear for the future of our career or life. In seeking comfort, we generally find a quiet corner in life where there is a minimum conflict, and then we are afraid to step out of that seclusion. Let me drink water, guys. Wait. Sorry, guys, for making you wait. Now let's continue again. In seeking comfort, we generally find a quiet corner in life where there is a minimum of conflict. And then we are afraid to step out of that seclusion. When we are designed to follow a certain pattern in the life, and that pattern, when we live in that pattern, after having to certain age, like 36, 37, after marrying, after having children's, we do not want to step out of that pattern or design, because what will happen if I step out of that? There will a lot of fear, anxieties. What will happen if I, not to follow the same kind of stuff that I'm doing since the 35, 36 years time? And that is the kind of, future kind of, what will happen? This kind of anxiety or fear puts pressure on the mind, and that mind, which is already made dull by the culture or by the tradition that we follow, it now becomes very hard or near impossible to step out of that design. Now, this fear of life, this fear of struggle and of a new experience kills in us the spirit of adventure. So, if a person who has grown till the age of 35, 36, when he still continues that to follow that, there is some kind of dullness which he already knows that what I'm doing is not the right way. I should get happiness, but he still follows that because he don't know what to do the next. He may begin even reading the books. He may go to trekking. He may even try to learn new musics. He can learn singing songs in a professional way. He can learn playing musical instruments like piano, guitar, or he can write the blogs or write books. But he won't do that because there is a certain kind of design in life which has made him to do this. If he even wants to do that, but still there is some kind of social pressure which designed him to follow in a certain pattern, that makes that restricts him to do that. Suppose if I'm 35, I'm not 35, but if I'm 35 years old and I have begetted my children, I have married, and I have been designed to live in that certain way. Okay, when I I'm fed up with all that stuff, that going to job daily and all that stuff, when I want to learn the new music, then some kind of inner voices comes and says, no, you should not do this. You have children now. You should be earning more money. You should not play the music piano, or you should not do this all kind of stuff which freshes the mind. And this inner the voice, that is nothing but a society which is pressured us to do this. Our whole upbringing and education have made us afraid to be different from our neighbor, afraid to think contrary to the established pattern of society, falsely respectful of authority and tradition. So here Krishnamurti says, our whole upbringing and education have made us afraid to be different from the neighbor. You may have your relatives or friends or anyone you may know, their children are doing earning a lot of money in a certain job, either in IT or finance or corporate. If they're earning, there is a certain kind of pressure on you to earn the similar thing like they are earning. And that pressure, makes you afraid to do different things, try different things. And that is just called as, dullness of the mind. Fortunately, there are few who are in earnest, who are willing to examine our whole human problems without the prejudice of the right or the left. But in the vast majority of us, there is no real spirit of discontent, of revolt. There are few people in the world who are trying to do good things, who have done already, like Buddha, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Osho, the J. Krishnamurti itself was doing excellent work. There are only few, you can count them as a handful people who tried different things. But majority, about the most of the people don't do this. They are not discontent. They are comfortable with what they are doing. That is the reason, one destroys oneself. When you don't try new thing in life, new thing it means learning. Whatever the new thing is about, is it's all about learning musical instruments, learning reading books, learning to write stories, or whatever wants to do which improves the mental health. We don't do this. When we are married, when we are begetted children, our sole work is to see the children, take care of them, going to job, coming back and seeing the children, all that stuff, that life, that circle that becomes only the life. And out of that, we don't even go or think about going outside. When we yield uncomprehendingly to environment, any spirit of revolt that we may had dies down, and our responsibility soon puts to end it. So here says, suppose there is a caste system in India, which coming from lots of generation, even though lot of other superstitions had died out in the past because of government efforts, still constitution has banned the untouchability casteism. Still people follow it. There is some kind of reason for it, because casteism, in the casteism there is a quite ego satisfaction. I am something bigger than that other person, and this superstition is been dragging out from the past thousands of years, and still making people dull to think about. So here says, when an environment of revolt, when we yield uncomprehendingly to environment, when we conform to what the society is saying, any spirit of revolt that we may have had dies down. Even though we want to change the society, still we don't do this. We enter into that system which we thought of changing it at once. But at the certain stage of life, we say, okay, no, let's not change it, let's get into it. Who will revolt it? Who will bring unnecessary problems in life? That is, Krishnamurti says, we may have that, but it dies down very soon, and our responsibility soon put an end to it. The responsibility we have as a father, as a family, that responsibility puts an end to all that revolt within us. Revolt is of two kinds. There is a violent revolt, and there is a which is mere reaction without understanding against the existing order or government. And there is a deep psychological revolt of intelligence. Hmm. There are two kind of revolts or revolts in the world. First one, which was happened about during the communism, due to the imperial era, lot of revolts were taken place either in the Europe, Asia or India. They were, Krishnamurti says, they were against the existing order, but were very violent, which was a reaction. British were torturing Indians. They made Indian people starve to death. So this was a revolt. This is a reaction to the imperialism, and without understanding. There was a revolt in the Europe or Russia, which is a communism, August revolutions of that kind of revolution that happened in the Russia. A lot of people had to suffer. Some has to lose their life. A lot of people had to lose their life, which is nothing but a reaction, because some communists thought, okay, this order is not good. Let's revolt it. In that revolution, in that revolt, a lot of people lost their lives. Innocent people lost their lives. So there is a second kind of revolt, which is called psychological revolution. In the psychological revolution, there are certain people who have done very good, which can be said as a Buddha. There are some Buddha and J. Krishnamurti, Swami Vivekananda, Kabir Das, Sri Narayan Guru. All the people have put their part to it, which is psychological revolution. And psychological revolution is the only revolution that brings actual change, not the violent. There are many who revolt against the established orthodoxies only to fall into new orthodoxies. In the Europe, we may have seen Protestants and Catholics revolt. Catholics say that what we do is the actual God. In the Catholicism in the Europe, many scientists were revolted and many lost their lives because of the revolted against the Catholic churches. And because of that, Catholic churches, Protestants gave up, which is called Martin Luther King, who had done some kind of revolt in the European Christian world. He developed one kind of new system in Christianity called Protestants, which was liberal. And that revolt is nothing but a reaction to Catholicism. So here Krishnamurti says, when they were against the Catholicism, they invented their own social order, which is called Protestants, which is called New Orthodoxy. Further illusions and concealed self-indulgence, which is further illusions and further orthodoxies. What generally happens is that we break away from one group or set ideals of and join another group. The Christians who were against the Catholics violent, they set a new kind of system which is called Protestants. Here Krishnamurti says they broke away with one system and joined the other. Take up the other ideals, creating new social pattern of thought against the which will again have to revolt. Again, they have now set Protestants. Again, someone has to revolt against the Protestants also in future. Reaction only breeds opposition. A reform needs further reform. Here says, reaction only breeds opposition and reform further needs reform. But there is an intelligent revolt which is not reaction. Can someone please comment? Are you listening or not? Let me know, guys. Am I talking to myself or please let me know. Now, again, but there is an intelligent revolt which is not reaction and which comes with self-knowledge through the awareness of one's own thought and feeling. Here Sri Krishnamurti says there is a different kind of intelligence which comes through self-understanding. That self-understanding comes when we are aware of our own feelings, emotions, and our thoughts. It is only when we face experience as it comes and do not avoid disturbance that we keep intelligence highly awakened. When we understand what our thoughts are, how our thoughts has originated. In the beginning, I said there is some kind of design in our life from the childhood. Parents, schools, society, friends, relatives have designed a certain pattern in our life, and from that pattern, our thought origins. For example, if I say, if I'm nearing about 30 years of my age, and there is a constant pressure, a psychological pressure, and also from the relatives and parents, they say you should get married. And out of that fright and out of that fear, we also think that, okay, we should get married. If we don't get married, what will happen in the future? Will I be stay alone throughout the life? But actual fact is that we have born alone, we have to die alone. And even if we get married, that partner won't be along with us. Even though you beget children, even though you say though have produced that children, still you have to go alone. They won't come with you. Even if you ask them, you should come with me after death, they won't come. So this is the factual thing. If relative society tells us to get married, we should think about it. We should step out of the design that I was set for us. And this kind of revolt is very important. So here Krishnamurti says, it is only when we face experience as it comes and do not avoid disturbance, when we let the disturbance of thought, am I to live like this throughout my life, like my parents, like my relatives? I should not go on that path. An intelligence highly awakened is intuition, which is the only true guide in life. When we live according to our own understanding, that is, that brings happiness in life. Happiness, doesn't come through earning money, lot of money, having a lot of people with us, having, a very beautiful partner. Happiness comes when we understand actually what we are and how our thoughts are designed by society, how society propels or compels us to do certain kind of job and avoid the other, either a government job or any highly earning private job. They have society or parents or relatives, whatever you say, they have designed our mind in certain way which compels us to do go on this path or that path. You don't have other path, but actually in reality there are a lot of paths available for us. Now, what is the significance of life? Why we are living? Why we are doing job? Why we are studying? Whatever why people are doing in their daily life? Why they are actually doing it? What are we living and struggling for? Why we are struggling for life? Why we are having continuous anxieties in us? Why we are educating like this? Why are being our parents are educating like us, like this that we are living? Why we are having continuous struggle in the mind? Why we are having continuously conflict in the mind? Continuous fear, anxieties, depressions. Why all we are having like this? For what reason? For what purpose? If we are being educated merely to achieve distinction, are we educated merely to achieve success in life? Why do we need success in life? Why should we get success in life? Why should we get a better job? What is the need of it? Why just we can't do a job and survive like a normal basic having basic things? Why we are educated to be more efficient at work? Why actually do we need to be efficient at work? What does that mean by efficient? To have a wider domination over others. Why should we dominate others, either in the job or in the family? Why should I dominate my children? Why should I dominate my mother? Why should I dominate my partner? Why? What is the purpose of all doing this? Then our lives will shallow and empty. When we do not think about all this, why we are doing like this, why we are living like this in continuous anxiety, being failed in the exams, conflict in the mind for 24 hours, this all that conflict anxieties, when we don't think about anything about all this, it is a dullness of life. If we are being educated only to be scientists, if we are only made only to be educated as a scientist, engineers, scholars, specialist, addicted to knowledges, then we shall be contributing to the destruction and misery to the world. Why we are kept on living like this? If we continue to live like this throughout the life, then there will be a lot of destruction on ourselves and also people who are living with us. Hmm. So there is a higher and wider significance to life of what value is our education. If we never discover it, we may be highly educated, but if we are without deep integration of thought and feelings, our lives are incomplete, contradictory, and torn with many fears. And as long as education does not cultivate an integrated outlook on life, it has very little significance whatsoever. So here Krishnamurti says, people are growing 40, 50, 45, 60, all that age stuff. Still they are, they don't have any changes in their life. They were bitter, they were envious, they were jealous, they were have fear, depressed, all that stuff. Still they are stretching out to their 45, 60, 70 years of age, still doing the same thing. Nothing fresh contributing from them. There is no learning from them, there is no value addition to the any in the society from them. Still they are doing the same. They were anxious when they were 19, 13 years of age, and still they are anxious, envious people or jealous people when even their 80s. There was no much contribution by them to society. In the present, and every generation does it follow the same kind of designation. Old people have the anxieties, young people have the anxiety, And the older people had no contribution to society except for the technological world. In the psychological world, there is no contribution by them. Even though they were highly educated people, still they were no integrated throughout the life. They kept on, they kept on animals go extinct. Many animals have become extinct. They produced a lot of population. The population of India is 1.5 billion, I guess. They kept on populating the country, but they did not bring any kind of new stuff. And whatever we call green revolution is brought by the Mexican Norman Barloff. And in Indian context, it was modified by Swaminathan. And if there would be no green revolution, we would be starving to death till now. That is, our ancestors have populated this country, and after populating this much of this country, we are struggling to get jobs, we are struggling to get resources, and many people in the Madhya Pradesh past some days they consumed sewage water in instead of clean water. Wait, guys. So there is no real contribution from them. They have populated this country to 1.4 billion. And presently, youth has no jobs, no resources. House prices are rising up, rising up, rising up. Lands are rising up. Lot of corruptions in the governments, institutions, in the corporate. There are a lot of anxieties, fear, job losses. What they have done to this country, the older people, that we touch their feet for taking blessings. What they have done to this country till now. They have created a system of education which is very, very worst in this case. They have built a company's corporate culture which is a very vast in its sense. They have done nothing else. We should think before touching their feet. They have done nothing to the society because the way they have lived nowadays resulting in the office cultures, in the jobs. There are a lot of job markets losing up. Businessmen are growing business, they are earning a lot of money, and the middle class are losing their money. This is they had the integrated life in their life. They had no integration to their life. Many animals gone extinct till now. There was a bird, I don't know its name. Let me search it, guys. House sparrow. House sparrow. There was one bird called house sparrow, which was which was available everywhere. But now recently it has gone very rare to sight even, because climate change is killing them. There is no water available in the world right now. Water is getting very scarce. When they don't get water to drink, that sparrows, what they gonna do? They will die. That's why we were not able to see them again and again. They are going extinct. This is what our ancestors have brought to us. They did not think anything about resources. They kept on begetting children, begetting children. See the condition of the India. We have become 1.4, 1.5 billion people, and animals, birds are going extinct because we have no resources. If India has that much of population, government has to do something to feed them. They are fertilizing the soils. While fertilizing the soils, birds eat that soil, that insects which consume the chemicals, they are dying it. And our ancestors or our forefathers brought nothing to this country. They have brought their envy, anxieties, fear, jealousy, and that jealousy entered into society in the form of jobs or any other format, and we are suffering now. No. In our present civilization, we have divided life into many departments that education has really little meaning. Except in learning a particular technique of profession, instead of awakening the integrated intelligence of the individual, education is encouraging him to conform to pattern and so to hindering his apprehension of himself as a total process. So here, education had a role which had to open our mind to break the bondages that we are having. But education has certainly strengthened that bondage. We are being educated to get successful in life. Success. What actually no one knows what the success means. But in basic terms, the success means having good money, good income, having good family, healthy family. But actually, who is healthy here? Success. We don't know the basic meaning about the success. And for most of us, success means having healthy family. But most of the Indians are having diabetes, cardiac arrest, BP issues. If the meaning of success was having healthy life, where is the healthy life? The most people who strive for success are having cardiac arrest daily. Don't you listen? Even the youngest people of 25 years, 20 years of age having dying like nothing. They're having actually cardiac arrest while in office or college. If the success has meant a good life, healthy life, where is the healthy life? Because there is nothing called success in the life. There is only one thing which is permanent, which is struggle in the life, day to day life. Now let's look in. Instead of awakening the integrated intelligence of the individual, education is encouraging him to conform to pattern and is hindering his comprehension of himself as a total process. To attempt to solve the many problems of existence at their respective levels, separated as they are into various categories, indicates an utter lack of comprehension. When when the older people wants to solve a problem, either through marriage or dispute or anything, actually they don't do any new thing. They're doing the same thing what they have been taught. Solving the problem requires a new thought, fresh thing. A problem cannot be solved with the old idea. We have to get a new ideas to solve the problem, because problem demands a new thought, freshness of thought. You cannot solve the problem with the old. Don't you see there are a lot of engineering problems of the throughout the world? They had to be invented a fresh thought of solution. They could not be solved through using if there is a construction of bridge over the ocean or river, and that solve the problem cannot be solved by using Burj Khalifa building, because each has a new problem requires new solution. And what the ancestors tell us, if a girl is married and she is having domestic violence in her life, her husband is beating her, so elders come together and say stay together. And how can it possible the person who has beaten to her just about past minutes, and the elder people say stay together? How is it possible to stay together? The person who has beaten her, and they're telling to sleep with that person again. So this problem requires some kind of seriousness, and most elder people are not serious. They are just living like dead bodies. The individual is made up of different entities, but to emphasize the differences and encourage the development of definite type leads to many complexities and contradictions. So here The individual is made up of different entities, but to emphasize the differences and then to encourage the development of definite type leads to many complexity and contradictions. So here, if a child is took birth and if the child is attend some kind of age like 7 to 8 years of age, parents should pay attention to what the children is capable of, not to throw him in a pattern of becoming engineering or becoming doctor or become that kind of businessman like that stuff. If a children wants to pursue his all wants to give his energy in certain kind of thing like learning music, doing artwork. If the children wants to become doctor, the parents throw him into engineering, that is useless. He will waste his energy, which is not his. He will he has to put lot of effort, struggle to that subject. If the children loves medical profession, if the parents just put him in that profession, then he had not to make he had then he should not had to do lot of struggle to read it. It will be natural, pay attention to that. But if the children the child which is interested in medical and the parents throw him into engineering, then he have to put in lot of attention, lot of struggle to that reading only that subject. So in this way in this way, when the society, the parents or relatives design a pattern of life, and the parents when they set a certain kind of pattern in their life, the children has to go through that pattern. If the children wants to go out of that pattern, no, the parents say, no, no, it is not good, you will you will starve to death if you don't do, if you don't do this, you will starve in your life, you will not have good life, you will not happy. And this kind of restriction of life makes a person dull, very dull. And the same parents who have now bigoted the children they set the same kind of ideology, same kind of design. The children follow the same throughout his life, and that still cycle chain continues. Of what value is it to be trained as a lawyers if we perpetuate litigations? Of what value is knowledge if we continue in confusion? What value is there for a lawyer if he continues litigations? Of what value a doctor if he continues to write unnecessary medicine to the patients? If I'm a doctor, if I write unnecessary medications to the patients, what is the value of my having doctorate? There is nothing meaning in it. If my education is not solving my confusion, then what value my education has? What significance has technical and industrial capacity if we use to destroy one another? US army, Russian army, or every army in the world, or the defense corporation, they design some kind of arm, they harm each other. Haven't you seen uh, there was a gun in by Russia which was I don't want to name that. If I use that name, then YouTube will, I don't know what will do. There was a gun called AK-47 which was built by Russian that time for low maintenance during the World War II. And after that everyone saw that gun very useful, and some kind of that gun entered into some people in the Pakistan or Afghanistan. From there began terrorism. What value had that person had for what educated he was, he invented this kind of gun, and that that took many life. His education made him confused. From that confusion he made a gun, and that gun still taking a lot of lives. This kind of education we are been fed up, educated. Confusion leads more confusion and more destruction. What significance? Okay, what is the point of our existence? Why we are living? For what purpose? If it leads to violence and utter misery, though we may have money or are capable of earning it, though we have our pleasures and organized religions, we are endless in conflict. Even though we have a lot of money, we earn a lot of things, still we are, in conflict with our family members. We are in conflict with our siblings or family members, even though very highly educated. What value education has if we were to live in a continuous conflict with our family members, with our friends? Sorry, guys, I will now end this session of education and the significance of life. Thank you for watching me. Please do comment, guys, if you want to ask anything. I will reserve this live for another 10 minutes. If you want to ask questions, I will try to answer it. You can post your comments. I will wait. Do comment, guys, if you have any queries, questions. For chit chat purpose, I will try to answer it. If you have any questions as to post, I'm waiting. Do comment, guys. Let me. I will try to answer your questions. Please do comment. I will go offline after 10 minutes. If you have any questions, please do comment. Do comment. Any questions, please do post. Any questions, please do ask, guys. Guys, please. Guys, please do comment. Do comment, guys, please. Let me know what your questions are. I am waiting for your comments. What's the time now? 10:20. For 5 minutes, I will be there. Do comment. Any questions? Mm-hmm. 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 Pyramid marketing. Okay, I think no questions here. Thank you very much for coming to my life. I'm glad that you have come. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye.